I guarantee you're guilty of this, and you need to clean it up as soon as possible, if for nothing else, then for your own future sanity. What am I talking about? I'm talking about all the messy code you're leaving all over the place. Now, I'm not talking about how you organize your code, but rather I'm talking about all the cruft that you're leaving in all those code bases that you work on, all those projects that you're building. The reality is a lot of that stuff just doesn't need to be in your code base. So today I want to give you my top 3 things you should look for before you push that commit button to make sure that you're not a messy coder. Hey Junior Devs, Dev Mentor Dave here, helping you bridge the gap from learning to code to launching a successful career. And part of launching that successful career is learning how to clean up after yourself. See, no matter how organized your code is or how good you are at following specific design patterns, more than likely you're a messy coder. Today I want to give you just a quick checklist as you're going through your commits and getting ready to push that up and build a PR and get your code merged in to help you avoid being a messy coder for yourself, but also keep you from being kind of a jerk to everybody else. So let's dive in. The first item is that you need to remove unoriginal content. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, what I mean is you need to get rid of extra boilerplate files. If you've been working on the Deep Pocket project, then you probably know we're using Laravel. And with Laravel comes a lot of great things, but also with Laravel and with other frameworks comes a lot of boilerplate stuff. In fact, you probably have some welcome page or some sort of demo page that's in your application. And a lot of times devs don't actually remove that stuff, even though they're not actually using the page. There's a lot of boilerplate that comes with these frameworks, that comes with templates that you use, all these different things that really are completely unnecessary, that are not going to help anything. They're just going to bloat your code base. And at the end of the day, what they do is they just create confusion because now you've got files and files of information that people have to sift through and figure out, do I use this? Do I not use this? Is it connected to anything? Sometimes people leave it still connected to routes that they're not using, but they just leave it there. They don't get rid of it. So you need to remove the unoriginal content. The second checklist item before you hit that commit button is to remove unnecessary comments. Now, I'll be the first to admit, especially while I'm writing code, it's very helpful sometimes to leave comments to myself as I'm going through to make sure that I put the code in the order that I want to do it, or that I kind of explain to myself what's going on in the code. But the reality is, if you're writing good code, if you're writing clean code, it should be self-documenting. You should be writing variable names and function names and things like that that make it clear what you're doing. Now, obviously, sometimes there is a need to abstract things out, and that can make things a little bit complicated to follow from a code reading structure, but you need to do as much as you can to write code so that you don't have a bunch of comments. One of the things I hate seeing in applications is big blocks of comments where you don't need it. If I read through the code and I can tell what the code's doing just by reading the code, I don't need a bunch of comments telling me what each of these variables are for, or telling me what the function does. I should be able to read that in the code. So you need to, before you hit that commit button, you need to remove all those unnecessary comments. Now, from time to time, there will be a comment that you need to leave in there. Maybe it's a to-do comment as a reminder, or maybe it's something that just helps explain maybe a function that's longer or a little bit more complicated or harder to understand exactly what's going on. And you've worked it and tried to make it as clear as possible, and you just need to leave a comment. I get it. That should be few and far between, though. So remove unoriginal content, remove unnecessary comments, and thirdly, remove unused code. Now, this may sound like something that's an obvious thing, but you would be surprised how many code bases I've gone through where there are just functions that have been sitting there for what seems like forever, and they haven't been used in a long time. In fact, they may be a function that somebody else changed to something else and they just didn't remove it. If you have variables, if you have functions, if you have anything in your code that's not actually being used somewhere in your code, it's unnecessary cruft and you need to get rid of it. Again, all you're doing is cluttering up the files that you have. One of the hard things about development is we can sometimes tend to have a lot of code in one file. And if any of that code is unnecessary or unused, you could cost somebody a lot of time trying to figure out what's going on in this function that doesn't actually even do anything. I cannot tell you how many times I have gone back through code tracing and I found a function that I thought was the function that was being used or being called, only to find out that function didn't do anything at all. It wasn't even being used anywhere. That's extremely frustrating when I'm going through a code base and I find something that just is unnecessary. So make sure you remove any unused code. So if you want to be a clean coder and not a messy coder, use these 3 checklist items every time before you commit any code to your project. Hey, I hope this video has been a help to you on your development journey. If it has, I'd appreciate it if you click the like button. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon to be notified the next time I upload a video or the next time I go live, which is usually every Saturday from 10 a.m. till about noon Central United States time. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I'll see you on the next one.